There you go.
Oh, y estamos otra vez, raza. Todos aquí, la banda libre. Bueno, no todos, faltan algunos. La verdad es que hemos estado teniendo un poquito ahí de problemitas, ¿no? Con nuestra raza de Juárez. Pero pronto los tendremos. Yo sé que, híjole, me llegan mensajes de ponte al gordi. Ya hasta me cansé de contestarles. Al rato regresan. Pero hoy tenemos un invitado muy, muy especial. Su nombre es Bashar Ibrahim. We're gonna go ahead and start with him. It's gonna be our second interview in English, so we're really excited about it. I know we have a lot of viewers that are bilingual, so they're gonna be glad that we have someone that speaks their language too, right?
Right.
So we have Kali, we have Azul, and our friend. How do you pronounce your name correctly? I don't want to mispronounce it.
You're good. Now it doesn't matter to me, but my first name is Bashar, and the last name is Ibrahim.
Ibrahim, like the soccer player.
Like the soccer player, Ibrahimovic.
So tell us, where are you from?
I was born, raised in Kuwait. My dad's from East Africa, from Sudan specifically, and my mother from Kuwait. It's in the Middle East, but I was born and raised over there with my mother. My parents split when I was about 5 years old, and then basically I grew up in Kuwait with my mother. The reason I came into the United States, my dad applied for citizenship for me when I graduated high school when I was 17, and I ended up being recruited to run cross country in track here in the United States.
Yes, sir. That's awesome. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, Azul, will you tell us where Kuwait is? Because I know what it is, but this guy right here he thought he was Africa.
No, Kuwait actually in Asia. Everybody say in the Middle East, but the Middle East is Asia, so it's basically with Asians. So people think of Asia just Chinese, but actually not really. No. They have Arabic people, Indian, you have Filipinos, all that countries kind of is in Asia. So it's really next to Saudi Arabia. And then between Saudi Arabia and Iraq. So it's a little tiny country. It's a small country, yes sir. It's actually about 160 miles north to west and 140 miles east to west to east. That's how big the country is.
There's probably more oil than people, right?
That's right, there you go. That's what everybody knows. That's true, everybody knows Kuwait for oil. That's good, there you go. Yeah. So, yes sir. But yeah, that's exactly what it's Kuwait. So and then
you're Asian. You're Asian.
The Asian, yes sir. So and then I know it's Arabic, but it's Asian. And I mean the same as you guys. I have soccer background. Like I said, it's completely cultural. When I first came in the United States, they say football. I'm like, oh, okay, let's go play football. Then they said, no, that's not football. What is that? That's an hand. That's not football. So yeah, in Kuwait, soccer is big. So that's all I did, and I played soccer since I was 5. I didn't start running until I was in high school. So basically my whole life playing soccer. That's kind of basically my first love, I guess you can say that. I grew up watching guys like Maradona, Platini, Van Nistelrooy, Batistuta from Argentina, like old guys. Now these kids, they don't know these kind of names, but I grew up with those kind of guys. One of the idols back in the 70s, like Zico from Brazil. Those guys I grew up with. Yes, sir. watching them when I was a kid.
I thought it was gonna be one of the first interviews that
no soccer, but
that's good.
So when did you come to the United States, and how was all that process that you had to go through?
I came in 97. I graduated high school in 96 in December. Once my dad found out I'm gonna finish high school early when I was 17, he said, good, I want you to come here before you turn 18. So I literally got here 2 months before my 18th birthday. So it makes it easier for me to apply for my citizenship. Right. I got here in January 97. March of 97 I turned 18, but by then I already applied for my social security, my residence and everything. And basically it took me 10 months to get my US citizen and my passport. When I came in, I was young. My mom was kind of scared. I didn't know my dad very well. We didn't grow up together. And then my aunt told us, hey, you're gonna send him, he's a kid, you're gonna send him to a country that he doesn't speak the language, he doesn't know anybody. He has no clue what's going on. So like, well, his father's there. So yeah, but even his father's there, he doesn't know him very well. So like, he'll be fine, there's more opportunities for him. And it did, and it worked out. I got scholarship to run track, cross country and track and field. You know, I ended up transferring from Missouri. My freshman year, I was in Missouri. It was an NIA school. It's a small school called in St. Charles, Missouri. It's called Lindenwood. I ran pretty good, and then I got offers from many schools: Michigan, Arkansas, Wichita, Tulsa. One of them was Utah. But I had about 6-7 schools, even Cincinnati. But I liked the atmosphere here at UTEP, the weather, the altitude. So, and I'm still here at El Paso. I moved in. I'm still here in El Paso.
You like the weather because it's similar to Kuwait, right?
Exactly, similar to Kuwait, hot, desert. And actually, when I moved in here, everybody's like, "Why are you running at 12 o'clock? It's 100 degrees." It's like, well, that's the weather in Kuwait at night. During the day in Kuwait, it's like 120, 125. They're like, "Are you crazy?" It's like, that's not hot for me. So it was okay. But yeah, yes, sir.
Good thing that you picked El Paso, because I've been in Michigan in the winters, and boy, it's freaking cold.
And that's the reason I didn't go to Michigan. They offered me a scholarship to go run, and I talked to the coach, and even my dad told him, he's like, he's not gonna go. He said, well, he hates the cold. He said,
it was gonna be a harder transition to you, huh?
That's right. Yes, sir.
Michigan and Ann Arbor.
Yeah. And I've been there. I went to my first football game. I guess they call it football. I watched it. My dad took me to watch live Ohio State and Michigan at Ohio. Yes, sir, at Ohio. Then the second time, I went to the big house. We went Michigan playing Ohio at Michigan. Oh man, those games are crazy.
Yeah, they probably don't know about this, but that's like the Real Madrid, Barcelona.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
College football.
College football. Yeah, big rivalry. Yes, sir.
And sometimes it gets more. It gets more revenue or more viewers than some of the NFL games.
Exactly. Yep. Yes, sir. Yeah. It was crazy.
So, you coming to El Paso, weather wasn't a hard thing to transition at all. No. You fit right in. But what's probably the hardest thing that you had to face, that it kind of gave you trouble transition to El Paso?
Honestly, it wasn't that much of a trouble. I mean, I loved it in here. The food, everybody said, oh, it's spicy. Back home, we eat a lot of spicy food, especially if you eat Indian food. Man, that food is hot.
I love Indian food.
Yes, sir. So I have no problem. The only thing is, sometimes you go places they only speak Spanish, so I had to adapt. So I understand it a lot more than I used to, but I cannot speak it as well, you know.
What language do you speak in Kuwait? Arabic?
Yes, sir, Arabic.
So that was your first language, Arabic?
That was my first language, Arabic.
Did you knew English back in Kuwait?
Well, they taught us English as second language, but it's very basic, very elementary. It wasn't much. We didn't use it a lot. So when I came in here, really, I didn't know much of it English at all. So
same for me, and
there you go.
Same for us.
There you go.
Not Azul. Azul was actually born and raised in El Paso, so it's a little different situation.
And you said that, speaking of that, and that's, I guess I was able to relate to a lot of students in college with UTEP because a lot of them come from Juarez, so their English was not as good, neither was mine. So we kind of related to each other in that subject. So we ended up helping each other. So like I said, for El Paso, it really wasn't that hard of a transition for me. So I loved it in here. I'm still here since 2000, 20 years now. You know, I have my wife, 2 boys.
You're so proud El Paso.
Yes, sir. There you go. Yes, sir.
You said it took you 2 months to get citizenship?
No, 10.
No, 10 months.
Oh, but wow, that's still rather quick.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly.
He moved 2 months before his birthday, his 18th birthday, but it took him.
Yeah, exactly. My dad explained it to me. So if I would have came in when I turned 18, it would have been harder. It would have taken me years to get it. But since I got into the country before 18.
You're an adult now, yeah.
Exactly, made it easier.
Adult in some things and not for others, which is crazy. That's another topic.
It's true.
That's another topic. You're old enough to die, but not old enough to get a beer. So
exactly, yep. That's another topic. Yes, sir.
Bashar, you mentioned you 2 kids. How old are they?
My oldest one is 15. He's a sophomore, and my youngest one is 13. He's an 8th grader. Yes, sir.
Does he run for you?
Yes. My 15 years old. I'm his coach, and he plays soccer also at Pebblehurst too as well. He's the goalie.
Oh wow! He
yes,
took the hardest position in soccer.
Yes, sir. He's the goalie. Yes, sir.
So, Bashar, tell us a little bit about your background. So you started in Missouri, you said, and then you moved to UTEP. And what happened? Well, what are some of your accomplishments in UTEP? Because I heard that your name is written in gold in that school.
I ran in gold. I don't know about that one. I ran pretty good. I was in Missouri. I was able to get 5-time All-American as an NIA, and then in D1, UTEP was 4-time All-American. And then my last year, I got Athlete of the Year for UTEP. So out of all the sports, I was Athlete of the Year at that one. I ended up qualifying my last year at UTEP to the Olympics. I was in 2004 in Sydney. My freshman year in '99, I was in Spain, Sevilla for the World Championship. I was there, competed over there. Yes, sir. It was a unique experiences.
Representing the U.S., right?
No, actually, I represented Kuwait.
Oh,
Yes, sir. I represented Kuwait actually for both of them. Then after 2004, I was trying to go for the U.S. team, and I made the qualification time, but I ended up injuring my Achilles. I had a partial tear and I was out for 3 years. They told me no more running. So, but now I start running again, and then I got it healthy, and then I'm happy back running because I was miserable without running or without sports. So I couldn't even do anything. I couldn't even play soccer. So even now I still play. They have like city leagues, and I was just talking to one of my wife's friends. He's one of the trainers. He also a soccer coach. He loves soccer. And I was asking him, he said, hey, do they have an old man leagues that we can go play? And my wife making fun of me. She's like, yeah, you're abajito right now. I said, yeah, I am. I'm getting old. Yes, sir.
That's awesome. Yeah, life doesn't make sense without sports, huh?
Yes, sir. No, not at all.
Yeah. So how was your experience? And I thought it was Athens for some reason. So you
Yes,
said,
sir. It is Athens. 2004. It was
Okay.
Athens, Greece, Athens. Yes, sir.
Athens.
That was wonderful. That was amazing. The monuments I went to visit, the gods, and then the places they have.
I mean, you went to where all started.
We all started this. I went to visit the first Olympic stadium. The way from the beginning to the end, you felt like you're a superstar, treated like a superstar. You were sitting there signing autographs and stuff like that, exchanging T-shirts. I was, talking with one of the best runners in the world, get some advices and stuff like that. So.
Where is he from? What's his name? The best?
One of them actually, I took a picture when we were talking with a guy named Frankie Fredericks. He's from Namibia. Before Usain Bolt broke the world record in the 200, it used to be Michael Johnson. He's from the U.S.
Okay.
The guy who was second behind him, that's the one he was there. I talked to because he was trying to run for some president for IAAF. We had to talk a little bit with the voice for him. And the other gentleman I talked to, his name is Wilson Kipketer. He was from Kenya, but he ran for Kenya for a few years. Then he ended up representing Denmark. He used to be the world record holder in 800 before the new guy broke it, David Rudisha, also another Kenyan who broke his world record.
You had a lot of teammates in UTEP from Kenya? Because I understand.
Recently, yes, because after I graduated in 04, I think in 05, they hired the coach. He's from Kenya, and actually he was an Olympic champion in 1988. He was the Olympic champion in 800. So they hired him at UTEP, and he started bringing more Kenyans back. Okay. But back in the 80s and the 70s, they had a lot of Kenyans too as well from UTEP.
So what is it that interested you about running? Because if you ever see me running, you better run too, because there's shit going down.
And maybe he's probably gonna hide. He's probably not gonna run. He's gonna play. He's gonna play dead. He's gonna play dead.
I honestly, it didn't click until later. A lot of my family members, they did the track and field, and my uncle, he's the one who took me to the track. He was actually a 110 hurdler. He was a sprinter. He wasn't even a distance runner. I ended up being a distance runner. He took me to the track when I was 13. They put me in. I kind of developed later. A skinny little kid. They saw me and they said, oh yeah, why don't you start a little bit farther? So I said, hey man, this is a lot faster than we thought. So they kept putting me back and back and back. I ended up running the same distance as the other guys. And at the end, I ended up beating some of them. And the coach was like, hey, why don't you come back again? It's like, no. He's like, why? It's like, I didn't come here to run track. He's like, what were you here? It's like, I was with the soccer team. My uncle dragged me over here. I don't want to do this. And actually, I really was not interested in it. I was just playing soccer, and I did play soccer for that club for a little while, and at the same time I did track and field. I did all kind of.
Here in the U.S. or in
No, it was in Kuwait. Yes, sir. I was about 13, 14. So in Kuwait, it's like Europe and Mexico. Sport is separate. It's not like within school. So you go to school and you finish around 12, 1:30. You go home. You do your homework, you eat a little bit, and then you go to the club. So everything is club. It was like serious, and you have your clubs, and you go over there and you start training and playing. So that's really what once I got introduced to sports. So. But then again, I wasn't interested in running. And Marcus said, "You're running in the soccer field up and down." I said, "Yeah, I'm chasing the ball, trying to score and defend, but I don't just want to run a lap for no reason." And it's like, try it. But yeah, and I didn't show interest in it until like my freshman year in high school. I was 14. I started running a little bit more. They put me in a cross-country meet, my first race. I ended up winning it and kind of thought, okay, I'm good at it. I try it. It was still back and forth. I didn't quit playing soccer. So I told the coach, like, hey, I'll show up when I can, but soccer is my first sport. I said, okay, that's fine. Slowly, they kind of dragged me into, running. Not until in 96 or 95, I went to training camp with the national team. Okay. They took us to Holland. And then the first thing I went to, we ended up being in Eindhoven, the city. So the first thing I went to watch a soccer game, and my coach
Ajax?
is like, and Ajax, yeah, and my coach is like, "Hey, you're here for training camp. Let's go check out the soccer team." I was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, man. This is my first sport. I have to go see them." I was excited, and then back then, like I said, they have Van Nistelrooy, Kluivert, all these guys from Holland, and they had, Ruben. These guys were still younger, but they were still playing, professionally. They have good players. So we ended up hanging out with the soccer team. I have one of the sprinters with us at UTEP. He used to work out with the two Dutchmen, Davies, and I forgot the other guy, the other black gentleman. They both look alike. They had the dread and with the glasses. Davies, and what's the other guy's name? Kluivert. Which one? I forgot his name. It was a pretty good player too.
Frankie Rijkaard or the forward that played in Milan after.
And that's who the one. I think he did. Yeah, he went to Italian league. He played for the Italian league.
Gullit or
yeah, cool, something like that. Yeah, both of them. And he knows them, so we ended up like saying hi and hanging out with these guys. So it's kind of a unique experience.
Edgar Davis' story is pretty awesome. I mean,
yes. His eyes, exactly. Yeah. So in his eye, at first I thought he just waited those classes just to wear them.
No.
I didn't know that was the prescription, and he needed them to see and everything.
Yeah,
so,
which is pretty awesome. I actually have a similar. I did run cross country in high school in El Paso, and the way I started it was because they didn't have enough runners. And my friend that plays soccer is like, "Hey, come join us," and I'm like, "I run just for running. I run because of soccer." The same answer. But I like a girl that was running in cross country, so that kind of helped me out. Plus, the first time that I went to run, I saw a lot of soccer players running for the other schools. So I'm like,
"That's right.
You bet I'm gonna."
That's right.
So actually, I was actually pretty good. My time wasn't bad. I run when I went to track the mile 4:37. I threw up after, but
that's pretty good, man.
4:37 miles.
Yeah.
I threw up. So, I feel like shit, but hey,
but that's pretty good. That's still pretty good. But yeah, they used to target us too, soccer players. And they actually make pretty good cross-country track runners, because you run for 90 minutes the whole up and down the field, for 45 minutes, then you take a little bit of break, and another 45 minutes.
For 90 minutes, but you do have a lot to change your speed. Yeah.
Exactly, especially if you're a midfielder. You do a lot of movement because you're in the front and in the back. So the midfielders do a lot of movement.
So how's your son gonna do it? He's gonna be the fittest player in the team. He's gonna be the goalkeeper.
Exactly. Yep. Yes, sir.
So he could be like Jorge Campos, our goalkeeper. So just bring the ball down and start dribbling.
Yes, sir. So, but yeah, that's what basically that year I saw some professional guys run, and I saw the competition. That's when I started understanding the sport as far as running in track and field. When I saw these guys run, I was like, hey man, a lot of them, they were very athletic and they were good at other sports. You're like, hey, it's the same background. So I was like, I saw these guys, like, I think I can beat them. I want to run just as fast as they are. If I cannot beat them, at least I want to run just as fast as they are. And that's kind of ignited the fire. So from then on, when I was basically on at 16, I started taking it more seriously. In 17, my coach told me, hey, you know you can get a scholarship when you go to the US. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I blew it off.
You probably didn't know what it was.
I seriously, honestly, I was just, it wasn't in the back of my mind. Everybody's like, did you know you're going to go to the Olympics? And I was like, not really. Once I find I'm good at it, my goal is just to pay for school. That was mainly the goal, you know, and I made it my goal to get my school paid for. The other stuff is just icing in the cake. So, but other than that,
What was a big icing in the cake.
Exactly, yeah, no.
An Olympic athlete is not an easy thing to say.
No, it is not, you know, and that's why I ended up enjoying it. I ended up doing it after college, post-collegiate. I don't know if you guys remember, since you're from El Paso, I know you remember a running company called Shoespring. We started, then they switched their name to Spira. They have the coil springs, actually compressed spring in the shoes as far as the cushioning. There was more controversy about it. It was local company from El Paso.
Yeah, we're gonna have to ask our editor to put the logos in the video.
There you go.
No idea what we're talking about. And I think actually Kali was the one mentioning this. He mentioned it, and I'm like, oh yeah, because I did it in Mexico when I went to visit my family. There was it's called San Silvestre, which is a run. I think it's the 31st of December, the last day of the year, that they run 10 kilometers. And usually,
that's right.
I mean, it's money involved. So usually the people that win the races are most of them Africans that just come to do those type of runs. They run them, they win easily, and they go to another one.
Another one, yes, sir.
What's your thoughts on that?
I was one of those guys.
Oh, you were one of those guys?
Yeah, I used to go to Juarez all the time. The only time I stopped was 2008 when it started getting bad with the shooting.
Really bad.
And I started going again. Actually, I have some pictures in my phone. If you guys want to meet next time, I can upload them. And then I know some runners from. I know some runners from. I know some runners from Juarez, some from Mexico. We ended up going too deep, and then a lot of the Kenyans that you're talking about, the Africans, it's true, they come in just for those races.
Yep.
A lot of them live in Mexico, and they live in Mexico City and Zacatecas because of the altitude. It's good for the distance training. So a lot of these guys live there. But I was one of those guys. I used to drive, you know, always get extra cash for me, and especially when I used to run for Spira. So I used to go run, and then it is a tough competition. You have guys from the US, from Morocco, and then you have from guys from Ethiopia and Kenya. And these Kenyans, man, they're not joking. And then and then some really good runners from Mexico, and they come in. I tell these guys, hey, why don't you run track? He's like, coach, track doesn't pay a lot of money. In the road, there is more money, because if you run a marathon or a 10K, there's prize money to the top 10. Then the track only to the top 3.
Right.
So it is really tougher to get money. So a lot of the guys I talked to in Mexico, we got to know each other. It's like, look, we need money. We need to support our family. A lot of us come from poverty. So these road races, where we make our money. So some of the guys in Mexico did the same thing. They run one race, like literally they drive 2-3 days later at the end of the weekend, they go run another one. And Exactly. They jump back to Mexico City, they go back to training, and then come back and start running more races, you know? That was their living.
I didn't even see them in the beginning. They were. I didn't even see them. I thought it was I didn't even know there was a money involved. Nothing. I was just running because it was kind of like to say bye to the new year. And
there you go.
So I'm running. I started fast because I was like, okay, I'm pretty good. I did it before. I haven't trained, but I'll try it. So then I see 2, and they're all the way to the front. So I'm like, I'm gonna show them that I knew how to run. I started catching up. I did. They look at me. They kind of laugh, and they just They took off more. I'm like, oh no, never mind. And then at the end of the race, they beat everyone. Of course, they were taking pictures and everything. And I did ask them like, hey, so you guys do this often? And they say, yeah. Tomorrow we're traveling. We're doing one, and the weekend. I was well, that's their. It's a hard job. It is. It requires it takes a big toll in your body. You need to be taking care of your body.
It does, yes, sir. And those are professional runners. And then, like I said, I did it the same way. A lot of people think, oh, you did it professionally, but it's not like soccer or American football or basketball. Right. In track and running, it's not a lot of money because not a lot of spectators.
Right.
So it doesn't bring as much money as the other sports. So people say, oh, you went to the Olympics, so you must be rich. It's like, nah, not really. It's like, even Usain Bolt, he broke the world record or not, he still wasn't making the same money as football players or soccer players were not. It wasn't even close. So, but I tell them that, like you said, it's really a hard thing to do. After a while, a lot of these guys, their body take a beating. They're like, you know what? I make same amount of money just getting a regular job. So I'm just gonna go get a job.
Yeah, most of their money for like Michael Phelps and like using Bolt, those things come from
Sponsorship.
like sponsorship.
A sponsorship, exactly. Yeah, it's not from the sport itself. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Which is sad because there are people that like it. There are a lot of fans, but they don't necessarily. It's not a wider. And it's not enough for ESPN or Fox Sports to buy or to actually go and hire just people to do those events, because it's not to bring them enough. Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is sad. Which is sad because I do like the sport. I got to enjoy running and learn about my body and the proper technique of running because of cross country. So I will actually watch it in the Olympics.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Bashar, so just a little overview. So started in college, then went to Olympics, then even did those races. So tell us how was your transition from running to actually coaching?
To be in the lead. So he was in the lead. He was the athlete of the year, competing in Athens 2004, and now he's the head coach for Pebble Hill. Yeah. So was it easy?
Not really, because yes, I was an athlete or not, but I didn't grow up in here. So a lot of people know me from Utah, but not everybody. So it's really mainly you as a teacher and then as a coach. Right. So I had to go get certification. Actually, I went back, got my teacher certification because my initial degree was in business. So I had to go back to school and get certified and pass some testing. And I honestly, I applied everywhere. It was finally one of the principals took a chance on me, and then it worked out perfectly. And the funny thing, as soon as I got hired, I got offered to coach and teach from 2-3 other schools. And too late already, like for all these years I've been telling you guys. But it was fun though. I wouldn't do it any other way, because my first job, I applied at private school. I graduated college, I was running, and then I got hurt in 2005. I started working for New York Life. I used my business degree. I started working for New York Life. I was an insurance salesman. So I used to sell insurance, start selling annuities, different investments, start doing toward business. But I didn't see any interest in it. Okay. The life itself, it wasn't like, I guess you can say it was not fulfilling. And these guys were like gone all the time, and then I just had a baby, my oldest one. I wanted a family. So I started getting into coaching and said, well, let me see if I can coach. And somebody's like, hey, you're an athlete, you did this, you did at the highest level. Why don't you get to education and try to coach? So in Texas, you cannot just coach, you have to teach. But private schools, I know you guys know that, but private schools, you don't have to teach. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. I continue working for New York Life. Then I start coaching at Capitulo. The funny thing, it was a guy who applied. I think he was a fireman or was a nurse who was trying to coach. He was interested in coaching too at the same time. So one of the parents worked with my wife at Horizon High School. And she told us like, oh, my son is interested in coaching. And she's like, he come coach my son at Cathedral. So I said, oh, okay. He said, doesn't have to have certifications. Like, private school doesn't have to be certified. You just coach.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so private school doesn't have to be certified. You just coach. You want to coach, you can coach as long as you have your other job. I said, okay. So they consider it to be part-time job. And I will put my resume. The guy who put his resume before me, I guess I told you he was a fireman or nurse or paramedic, I think somewhere in that field. And the athletic director told him, and he saw my resume, he's like, okay, then why am I applying? Just give him the job. He was a perfect fit for it. He ran at the Olympics, he ran this, and he told him all the story in the resume. So really, that first job, I got hired right away. And the parents have a lot of pull to it. They talked to the athletic director. Right. And then my first year, it was awesome, and I loved it. And then the second year, we ended up winning state championship in
Actually, in
2006.
soccer, the Cathedral has a good history, good athletes.
Yes, sir. Good athlete. Yes, sir. They have a good soccer team. And speaking of that, the soccer coach, I showed him what I was doing, and the reason I won a state championship because I told him, look, that's what we do, the conditioning. I ended up having a lot of soccer players, almost all of them, and the basketball, and that's how I built up my team, man. I've got some good runners. I tell the coach, hey, look, they come in, I condition them for you.
Yeah.
I show them what I can do, and they're like, okay. Oh, so you do speed work? I say, yeah, it's not just running distance. You have to have some speed. So he liked that aspect of it. He liked my philosophy of training. And then I started getting a whole bunch of them. Ended up with like 34 kids, and it's just boys. So it's not like boys and girls. So I ended up with 34 boys, and then ended up having been a big team. So yes, sir, it worked out perfectly.
So you actually coached the girls in Pebble Hills?
Pebble Hills, I coached the boys and the girls both. So for cross country, boys and girls.
Is it a big difference?
It is. It's
in terms of the psychology, in terms of the mental aspect of the game. Is it harder to coach a girl or a boy in the mental aspect of running?
It's a little different. It depends on each student. Mental wise, I've seen girls a lot tougher than boys, and I've seen boys tougher than girls. It depends on each person, Girls not necessarily like as far as toughness, they're really tough. It just what makes it tough mentally, their self-esteem. Sometimes they don't look at themselves like good enough or not. And boys, they're like just like that's when it comes to more of the mental toughness. They're like, I don't want to do this, it hurts too much, but you're trying to just put through it or not. Girls, they have no problem pushing through the pain, but it was more of the confidence.
They're already built for pain.
Exactly. So it was more the confidence, like you have to build up. Sometimes they don't think enough. And then public school is completely different than private school. Less parent involvement, and you see those kids are like homeless, they're struggling, and then parents abuse them. And then you have those kids who got abused by parents, or even some of them abused by their boyfriend or girlfriend, the relationship they're with. So their self-confidence as far as the girls is not as high. So you have to build that up. And then the boys, you have to build them up to be tougher. But it's really different from the private school, because you sometimes you ended up being not just a coach, kind of a mentor, guidance, and some kids ended up like, almost I'm like their father. They slip sometimes. Hey, dad. It's like, no, I'm not your dad. Don't call me dad. But you build up the relationship with those kids, and you get to know them, and that's really the tough part about public school is their background. You have to deal with that. The situation at home, situation what's going on once they leave school. A lot of the time, their safe place is at school. They don't want to be there, but at the same time, they don't want to leave.
I think at least comparing your selling insurance, not to be teacher coach, that's what is fulfilling about, right? It's hard, but it gives you a lot of fulfillment of those.
Exactly. So yes, sir. Yes, and I love coaching.
You're gonna see the kids, and they're gonna. Look at coach, I'm working here.
Yep.
You go to the doctor, or you have a doctor, student athlete, and I mean it's nice.
Oh, it is, and especially when you're one of your athletes calls you from Cathedral, and he's like, "Hey, coach, can you help me out with the workout?" I said, "You still training?" He said, "No, I'm the coach at Cathedral now." So I said, "All right." So he's one of my athletes. Now he's the coach at Cathedral. I said, "All right, there you go."
Have you thought about coaching college, maybe?
Actually, I am. It came up a subject with my wife. I am planning on getting my master's, and I will do it into coaching. Why not? Once I really considered it, like seriously, once my boys finish, get a high school, they go to college, get set up, I'm thinking, see if I can get into coaching to a college. I mean, I'm going to take a step back. I have to start from the bottom as an assistant or not, which is fine. But I really love it. I think that'll be the next step as far as coaching at the next level. So like I said, I have to, start off from zero. So I have to start saving money and whatnot, because once you go to college as an assistant, they don't pay you as much as a teacher and then a coach. You actually make more money when I'm teaching coaching as a college coach.
You should consider starting maybe like a club teams.
We do. I do US track and field. I already got my certification to coach
Nice.
from US Track and Field. I do the City League, US Track. Our club is called El Paso Flames. You guys look it up. I have 4 coaches, myself, Coach Dale, and I have Coach Frank. Yes, sir. And Coach Dale, he's the one who actually the originator from that club. I started with the club called the Falcons. Then we joined with them. So we've been together for several years. And he's also was a UTEP alumni. And he also competed at the highest level. His name is LIbre. He ended up running 48 and 400 hurdles. So he was also ranked in the world. He's one of the top runners there. He was a hell of an athlete. Yes, sir. He was All-American at UTEP.
You never know. You never thought about running Olympics when they ask you. You maybe go into the Olympics again as a coach. Why not?
Exactly, as a coach, build up a professional group, and it really that's the goal. I really thought about it once my kids get out of high school, because I want to see them compete. I want to coach them in high school. Right. Once they're out of high school, they have their own coaches in college. I really seriously thought about it. It's like, you know what, maybe I step away from education and just to go straight coaching, and that's it.
I think this is the last thing for me, at least.
Alrighty, no problem.
How's the relationship between your son to be your athlete and your son to be your son at home? Is it?
We have to work at it, because when he was younger, he didn't believe that I ran and I did that, and I took him to UTEP. At the press box, they have a poster of of me and another girl from UTEP, and I showed him the poster. He took a picture of it. He was like kind of shocked, and he was like, "But 9 or 10 years old." And he's like, "Is that you, Dad?" I said, "Yeah, they have a big poster of you." He's like, "Yes, I told you I ran at the school, they have a big poster." And then slowly he got older, he started understanding. So it took him a while. And at one point, actually, the same thing as I was. He didn't want to run. He wanted to do football, not like soccer football, American football. And I was like, I don't know about that one, son. And he did flag football, and he played basketball and stuff like that. Myself, I did basketball. Of course, soccer. And I did track and field, and I played volleyball. I even played handball, but not the one you played against the wall. I don't know if you've seen it. European handball. It's a mix of soccer and basketball. Yeah, that's the one I played too for a little bit. So I was very involved in sports. I love sports all around, and it actually gave me an understanding to be a better coach. So develop different muscles and whatnot. So it actually kind of helped at the end. But the relationship grew a little bit. So now he understands. When we at a school, I tell him, you address me as coach. At home as a dad. His freshman year, he kept mixing, "Hey, Dad, oh, sorry, coach. Dad, oh, sorry, coach." And it took him a while. But yeah, we tell him that we have to separate that. I'm at school, keep it professional. I'm coach. When we leave, as soon as we leave, the bell ring, the last period, we leave home. As soon as we leave school, okay, then I'm dad. So now he gets it. Now he's okay. Now he understands it. I'm at school. Okay, coach. Now it's okay. He's dad. So when we go to practice at school, he understands that I'm coach. When I critique him or tell him something, I'm telling him as a coach. When we go home, it's a different discussion.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So same thing. Last one from me. What advice would you give? It's gonna be 2. One, as being an athlete, a college athlete, and another to young coaches like us that we're barely starting, doing soccer, doing cross country. So what advice would you give us to us young coaches, and an advice for college athletes or high school athletes that are trying to make it?
College athlete and student athlete trying to make the best of the opportunity. Don't get stuck on the name of the school or this guy. And really, if you make your goal education, have you all the doors opened up. I mean, that happened to me, and I've seen it happen to different student athletes, even athlete in college. Make the best of it. I wish I can go back. Those was my best days when I was in college. I had fun, the team, the traveling, the relationship that I built, the friendship. I still have friends. We still talk about soccer. Because UTEP always recruit internationally. We have 3-4 guys. No, about 5-6 of them from Spain. We have athletes from Holland, still they recruiting. We have athletes from Bahamas, Barbados, Kenya. It was big time internationally. And then the the goal that we had, we all came in together. We didn't know anything. Language is different. And it's funny, the one common thing, although we did track and cross country, soccer was the big one. We always played soccer when he was younger. Soccer was the big thing. We always talked about soccer. We sit down and the Spaniard, they used to talk about their team. And, I used to give them a hard time and say, man, nobody cares about Spain. Spain's not a soccer team. So those kind of things. But, make the best out of the opportunity. But as far as young coaches and even older coaches, myself, always be willing to learn. Understand your athletes, understand your kids. And I honestly, from the heart, I do believe, I'm a big believer in that. I tell my kids too as well. Tell them when a coach tell you I know everything, walk away from that coach.
Right.
Because the coach is not willing to learn, to adapt, to make you a better athlete. Every person is different from the other one. If your coach is willing to learn and teach you how to be better, so how are you gonna teach somebody to be better and you refuse yourself to be better?
Even as a coach, you have to be
a coach. Yeah, you're refusing for yourself to be better, but yet I'm going to teach you how to be better. So don't get stuck in a way, especially the way the sports evolved. Sports
technology now.
Exactly. These guys getting faster, stronger with technology, the equipment, the cleats, the spikes, the shoes, different things.
Things are changing.
Even the turf, from the grass, they analyze literally everything. So I tell them, how can you get stuck behind time? You refuse to learn. But yet you said, I want to improve athletes. So as far as coaches, young coaches, enjoy it. It might be tough at the beginning, but as long as you're always willing to learn and improve yourself, you'll be okay. You'll be all right. You'll have good athlete. Nobody knows anything. There was a poster, like I said, nobody knows everything. There was a poster of my wife's work. It's funny. They showed a little boy and they show him as a baseball or something, a doctor. It said even expert started knowing nothing.
That's
so
right.
Even expert started knowing nothing. You have to learn. Nobody knows anything. See, if you're willing to learn, you'll be okay. You'll be one of the best coaches.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for that advice.
You're welcome. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What happened?
Oh no, I'm talking to Azul.
Okay.
I think Azul is just amazed by your answer. You got it. I can see his eyes. He's inspired right now.
He's inspired. I don't know about that one.
Probably you inspired him enough to get out of bed at least.
So I hope so. That'd be nice. Here you go.
So if you don't mind, this is Azul's. I'm actually taking his role right now. Tell us your. If you want to, you can tell us your social media, your personal one, or your club team, which is the one that I would be more interested in getting out there to the community.
Yeah. You can follow. We have it called El Paso Flames or El Paso Track Club Flames. If you just put El Paso Flames, and it's a red logo and it pops out El Paso. That's our running club. We have it in Facebook, and then they have it in athletic.net. My social media, just my name is Bashar Ibrahim. I have another account with my boy's picture. I kind of locked, but the one I have a profile, I don't have any profile. It's just me, Bashar Ibrahim. I have a Facebook account, and then the other one is a Twitter. It says Coach Ibrahim at Pebble Hills, but it's two Coach Ibrahims, my wife and myself. They always mix this up.
Nice.
Yeah. I always mix this up. So I tell them, make sure it says Coach Ibrahim. It says Coach Country and Track, not athletic trainer. My wife is the athletic trainer too.
Okay. Nice.
Yes, sir. And in fact, that's how we met at UTEP. She was my athletic trainer at UTEP. So yes, sir. That's how we met. We met at UTEP.
He was getting his feet.
There you go.
And what are you doing tonight? Thank you so much for accepting the invite to LIbre.
No.
We thought it was not going to be nothing related to soccer, but we ended up talking about
soccer.
No.
I love soccer. I'm telling you, I still love it. I mean, a lot of people probably don't like my team. I'm a big Manchester United fan. That's my team. Big Red. I'm sorry. A lot of people don't like him, but that's my team. I'm more of a Premier League guy. I watch the English league a lot.
Of course.
The reason because of competition. It's a whole lot of teams. I love watching that. Exactly. The grinding. What happened?
It's coming back.
Yes, sir. It's coming back.
That's where the game as we know it started. So they're good.
Exactly.
They're good. Okay, well, thank you so much.
No problem.
I mean, Labor Day weekend is over, so we're going back. We're going back. Good luck in the season. Hopefully you can bring a state championship to Pebble Hills now.
I hope so. I hope so. One of these years, yes, sir. You guys, good luck to you. It's your seasons and everything else, and all the endeavors. I appreciate it. It's fun. I don't mind doing this again. Yes, sir. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nos vemos, banda libre. Gracias.